There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Could It Be, a podcast about the curse of Oak Island. My name is Dieter White, and my co-host is my amazing husband, Dustin White.
Hello there.
We are avid treasure hunters ourselves, and of course, big fans of the show. We've had an amazing year of doing a variety of different treasure hunts. What was your favorite one this year?
I don't know. It was a lot of fun to go to San Francisco to do the digging for The Secret. That was probably one of my favorites. What was yours?
I enjoyed San Francisco as well since we got to take the kids, but it was really fun to go over to New York and Boston. And of course, I'm really hoping we're going to get to go to Maine next year and work on that one. Yes, so
Yeah.
that hopefully will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we like to do a lot of the armchair treasure hunts. We don't get as dirty as Rick and Marty and their team, but
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. We do dig some holes, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So anyway, you want to just start talking about the episode? It was a good one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about what Rick, Marty, and the rest of the team have been doing this year out at Oak Island. There was a lot in this episode.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was awesome. We had a real Bobby Dazzler at the end.
Yes, we did.
The episode opens up with Rick and Marty driving down one of the roads there in Nova Scotia.
Yes.
And Rick asks Marty, how sure are you that something was buried on Oak Island? How sure are you that the legend is real? And Marty said,
What, 70%? He's kind of the skeptic.
Yeah.
I'm more of him.
yeah.
I'm the skeptic.
If I have to ask you, how many percentage points do you think there's something hidden on Oak Island or some kind of mysterious past?
I believe there is something mysterious. I'm right up there at the 70 as well, but I don't know that it is necessarily the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant or any. There's probably something pretty cool out there, though.
Oh man, I hope it's the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm probably more with Rick. I'm like at a good 95%. I'm leaving room for something to not happen, but something happened there.
Yeah, I usually have to pull you out of the clouds.
Yeah.
So they started off in the war room with the entire team and going through what they'd found last year and what their plans are for this year. So do we want to go ahead and take a look at that?
They have the big three, as they called it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a small clip of them saying that.
It's still the big three, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's the money pit,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
the swamp,
Yeah.
and then the third big thing, of course, Smith's Cove is still a target.
Yeah.
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 There's a lot of yas in there. But I do like that they have a plan. The big three seems very directed this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's going to be exciting. Like an overview of the season, them talking about what they're planning to do, especially in Smith's Cove. That's
Yes.
really got me interested. That looks super cool. I'm not, like, one of the things I've never really been super sure about is those box strains that they talk
Yes.
about. But, hey, if they can find some proof of that, that'd be super cool.
Yeah, because it was Dan Blankenship and his team that said they had found evidence of potential box strains in the swamp.
Yeah.
Not the
No.
swamp, in Smith's Cove.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was back in the early 70s when he built a big cofferdam, and unfortunately it broke and got flooded, and they lost all that evidence,
Yeah.
potential evidence.
The 1970s, they didn't quite have what we have now.
Yeah, they've got some real good stuff now, so they're gonna really go for it, and they're throwing everything at it. It's gonna they're gonna have answers if nothing else.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah, so one of the big three was mentioned the swamp, and there was really nothing in the whole episode about
They didn't
the swamp.
talk about the swamp at all.
Yeah, just
right?
that one brief mention, which is cool. It gives you something to look forward to, and I think the swamp's pretty interesting. You're not super into it.
No, I hear it smells, and I don't like things that smell really bad. So I would rather, if I was there, spend my time in Smith's Cove.
Yeah.
I'm much more excited about Smith's Cove than the swamp. I have a hard time believing there's a sunken treasure ship or something there. But hey, I could be proved wrong. I'm very open to that, but that's the skeptic in me.
You know, I like the idea of the swamp. I'm happy for him to go back in there. Smells don't bother me as much as they bother you, so I'd be jumping in there with him. That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't know. They found planking in the swamp last year.
True.
They did find a coin. You know, they
found some
this
stuff.
There's going to be something there. You know, there's over 300 years of activity in that area. You know, there's stuff there. It'll be exciting to see.
All right, so we've already talked a bit about the swamp. Actually, let's talk about the money pit a bit. I'm actually really excited about that and this whole idea of the seismic detonation technology and the big grid they're laying out so they can get a real good picture of what's going on under there.
Yeah, the seismic is super interesting. We will see if it produces any results. You know, it's going to let them do a little bit of, looking under the soil like they've never been able to before. So it's interesting. I'm not like super familiar with the technique, other than what I've done a little bit of research after watching the show, but it looks promising,
It definitely looks promising. It was great to see that they did the test run looking for the Halifax tunnel and being able to really provide some proof that this could be the right technology for what they are doing.
Yeah, apparently Charles Barkhouse and Dan Henske really know exactly where that tunnel was. So
they must.
They were able to, give them good intel of where it should be. And when the seismic testing was done, I guess it proved it where it was. It said 90 to 120 feet. From old records, it's said to be at 110 feet. So it's right in the ballpark.
I'm really glad they could read what it was they put up on the screen from the seismic test. I was thinking, hey, that's just a lot of yellow and blue. And I guess there's something different right there, but they definitively put a mark there. But I guess that is their science. That's what they do.
The guys from Eagle Canada know what they're doing. So
I can appreciate that.
It's what
Shout
they do.
out to Eagle Canada.
Yeah. So that was super interesting. I like last year with putting the resources and energy and the time into H8, and it pulled out. They were able to pull out the human bones, from really deep. That's some crazy stuff.
That was really crazy, very surprising. The fact that they came from two different bodies, potentially.
Yeah. One Middle Eastern and one European, dating back at least 400 years. So
that was fascinating.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like something happened.
Something happened. There is no
human bones don't get down that deep for without people being down there. So
I'd agree.
Yeah. Okay. What else happened in the episode? We had, there was a lot of metal detecting out at Smith's Cove before they got the cofferdam up. Going back to where our, your favorite, Mr. Woo Woo Woo.
Yes, Mr. Drayton.
Holy shamoly.
He's the best.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Gary.
Yeah, who doesn't, right? He is great. They went out to the area where he found the cross, and they do keep calling it the lead cross. When they were discussing it at the pub, Rick called it
Drayton's Cross. I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll probably be calling it from now on too. That's pretty great. So Drayton's Cross, is an extraordinary find.
It was a great find. It was a good holy shamoly, and has really driven this whole thing home. It always cracks me up though when they put the cross on the screen next to the
Knights Templar cross.
Yes, the Knight. Does it look alike? Guys, it looks exactly the same.
It does look uncannily alike. It's like, did they make that cross afterward to make it look like that carving in the wall? Because that carving's been there. It's been documented. It's been there forever, since the 1400s. Okay, this cross, or Drayton's Cross, that they found on Smith's Cove, like, even the top of it where you would thread, like,
necklace
necklace, through it. It would, it's even cocked to the side, just a hair, just like that head in on that carving in Dome, France. It's amazing.
That feels like the only true definitive match of something we've seen throughout this. That definitely looks like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's a could it be moment. That's actually like, yeah, it could be.
It definitely could be.
It definitely could be. So let's talk about what they did find on Smith's Cove in this episode using the metal detector.
Yes, so they did find a couple of things. The first thing was the 19th century iron spike.
Yeah, that was
Seemed
pretty cool.
It was cool, but it seemed really unimportant to them in the big picture. But what else they did find was a big piece of cut lead, which they're speculating could have been used on a Spanish galleon. It was really the duct tape of the time.
Yeah. Narrator Robert Clotworthy, it was really excited about the potential for
That's right.
it being used on a Spanish galleon.
Lead from a Spanish galleon found on the shore of Smith's Cove?
That's right. Could it be a Spanish galleon? Duct tape?
That's right up his alley. He was all over it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just another piece of the puzzle here, which is super exciting.
Well, they were speculating that it could be something that was maybe used in that U-shaped structure that Dan Blankenship found back in the 1970s.
Correct. Yes. Which is super important.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to see what they do as far as that U-shaped structure goes. After the episode was finished, it did have like a this season on Oak Island, and they showed a bit of what
they found.
Yeah, what they found as far as the U-shaped structure is concerned, and how it had the Roman numerals
that was
engraved
cool.
on it and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty impressive stuff. You know, that's a really great find by Dan Blankenship back using 1970s technology. That's pretty cool.
That's really cool. I'm really excited to see what the next episode shows us as far as that goes.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about Dan Blankenship for a while. That guy is a legend.
Yes.
Like, I am so happy that he's still kicking around,
Uh-huh.
getting around the island, is still involved in everything. And I'm so glad that Rick to share everything with him, and it just means so much to Rick to make sure that everything Dan did in his life, was
important.
and a worthy goal, because they're gonna solve this stuff for him, and
exactly.
It's special, it makes me really happy that Rick and Marty, do so much to make sure that he's still included in everything.
I think they also realize he is a very valuable resource. He's got a unique perspective. He was down there, hands in the dirt, spent a lot of time there in these original searches. So he's going to know a lot and be a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, well, who knows Oak Island better than him? I don't think anybody alive.
I don't know.
Yeah. We should touch briefly on Fred Nolan.
Yes.
Who passed away last year.
And that's so sad.
Yeah, that's pretty heart-wrenching, because we all feel like they're super close to discovering some good stuff on Oak Island, and he just missed it.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but it was kind of nice to see them mend fences there and move forward, but it was really sad to lose him as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
Let's go ahead and move on
yeah.
to where they were next, which was decided to get into Lot 2 to do some metal detecting with Gary.
Yeah, so how many lots did they go ahead and clear out some trees on? They said, I believe, lots 1 through 8, and then 21 and 22?
I believe that is right. I'd have to double check. But with Lot 2, when they were out there, Gary was speculating maybe they were the first to really search this area because it was so thick with brush, he couldn't swing a metal detector around. So
yeah, but they cleared out a bunch of those trees, and they were able to finally get in there and see what's on the ground. And they were pretty
exciting.
Yeah, well, we're watching it. We weren't the only ones excited. Listen to this.
You're the guy with the lucky metal detector. Oh my goodness.
Now that's a coin. That's a cartwheel 2 pence, a tuppenny.
A tuppenny.
yes, a cartwheel 2 pence. So they found a coin, which was super exciting.
Yeah, what year was it from?
Oh, geez.
It was 1797, I believe, right?
1797. Yes.
Yeah, that's an amazing find. It's after the money pit was discovered, so this coin was, it's dated 1797, 2 years after the discovery of the money pit, and when the search started. But it doesn't mean that this coin was put in this spot in the ground in 1797. It could have been 20 years later, for all we know. But it definitely says the British were
Yes.
all over this island.
Exactly. Or someone with British money in their pockets.
True. Well, I'm sure a lot of pirates stole a lot of stuff from the British, and just like they did everybody
Yeah,
else.
they
and,
liked everybody's money. They
Yeah.
didn't care where it came from.
well, there's a lot of people that love the pirate theory too about who deposited things on Oak Island. So
Exactly.
there's that.
So after the coin, we then see that Gary and Jack continue metal detecting out on Lot 2. They see some boulders that seem really like that would be important, right?
Yeah, they're promising targets for Gary.
Exactly. So he hits it with his metal detector. They start getting pings.
Yeah, he says it starts screaming.
Yeah, it's iron. Screaming iron.
You know, and so they remove some of that moss, and they find these one iron bolt sticking out of this boulder.
That was a lot of moss that they pulled off.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Here, I pulled a clip of that.
I mean, this wouldn't surprise me if this is a ring bolt. You put a chain round or a rope and you pull things. It's for moving some other stuff. And what do you haul up? Treasure.
Wow, that look that Gary
Yeah,
gave Jack.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Jack's just trying to laugh it off. Oh yeah, haha, yeah, we're looking for a treasure. Yeah, that's what will be pulled. But
Yeah.
Gary was serious.
Serious.
He was like
ready.
dead serious. Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good stuff. So they decided that seemed very important. I think it's very important, so it makes sense that they called Rick.
Yeah, well, Jack said that he thinks it's probably, a cultural significant find, so he wanted Rick to take a look. Rick came over, agreed that they need to bring in the archaeologist, Laird Nevin, to take a look at it, to see what he thinks about it before they go any further.
Yeah, so they give Laird a call, and he comes out. I just want to know, is Laird on standby? Because I feel like anytime they call him, he's instantly there. Yes, it's the magic of editing, I'm sure.
It is the magic of editing, but, I'm sure he's getting paid well for, doing this work.
True, but I feel like he's very close all the time.
Well, they kind of need him there all the time. If they don't have, someone that can take a look at these things, they have to kind of stop. So they have to have him. I bet he's not on call and he's there every minute of the day.
Hanging out in the war room.
Yeah, well, he comes by every so often and, they put him to work.
Yeah, absolutely. They, people have a lot of mixed opinions about Laird and the fact that they even have to have him because in the past they didn't, but it's part of their treasure trove license, right?
Yeah. But it's important, these guys that are doing all this excavation, they are not archaeologists. There's a proper way of doing a lot of this stuff. I know they take great care in what they're doing. They don't want to do anything that's going to negatively affect their progress or, the island itself. If it makes the government feel better, you might as well do it. Got to appease them.
I think Laird, we can appreciate that he brings a bit of insight, a different point of view. I think he's become a important part of the team as well.
He's definitely part of the team. I enjoy his insights on things.
I totally agree. I don't think that he has slowed them down significantly to the point.
Having to have him
yes,
slowed them down, but he is a good resource for them.
I don't feel like he says no a lot though.
Nah. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure, I we've never talked to the guy, but
yeah,
I'm sure he's real interested, to what's gone down on this island. Even if nobody deposited anything, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, lots of stuff has happened on this island, and it's all very interesting.
All very culturally significant, regardless.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, Lot 2 seems to be really bringing up a lot already. So, I'm super excited about these ideas of the bolts and the boulders, and when they pan back and you see how many of these large rocks really are in a line. So hopefully we'll see more about that in the future and that there's a bunch of bolts and lots of boulders.
When Rick was there with Laird and Gary and, looking over this boulder on Lot 2, they noticed the carved triangle in the
That's right.
in the boulder, or Rick did. And even Laird said, that looks like a triangle, so that's pretty significant.
That is pretty significant. And he points out that
Freemasons,
Freemasons,
what it
all
was.
had their own triangles.
Yeah, so here's a clip I pulled about the Mason.
You know, Masons all had their specific mark.
A carved triangle? Possibly made by Freemasons?
You know, the narrator had to get in on that.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I guess the first thing that popped into Laird's mind,
Was the
Freemason
Freemason
connection, yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Hopefully it is indeed a marker. Who knows if we're going to find that on different boulders, because we talked about ring bolt in a boulder on Smith's Cove.
Well, that's what Daniel McGinnis and John Smith found back
That's
at the
right.
discovery of the Money Pit time.
Okay, so maybe they're all connected, and they're talking about finding out how old this metal is that's within the rock.
Exactly, and that can help them, date it to either pre-searcher, pre-depositor. That's how they are going to determine who pounded that.
Who put it in?
Exactly. So I'm a member of this group on Facebook called Oak Island Original,
Okay.
but they've got people that speculate things all the time.
Yes, we all do.
We all do. But somebody put a picture of these iron bolts driven into this large rock that they did them at intervals probably like 4 or 5 inches, and that's how they split the rock in two. And that was, just an old technique of
Splitting the boulders.
Splitting the boulders. So
Interesting.
it was interesting. It made me think maybe that's
What was
that
going on.
Yeah, because it may be less significant than we hope, but you never know. They'll have to just do some more testing and more research to figure that kind of stuff out.
So they could be splitting the boulders to use parts of those somewhere else for something else.
Yeah, for something, for anything.
Maybe they were moving them to create Nolan's Cross.
Could it be?
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
What else do we have that happened on Lot 2? Anything?
No, I think that was all that happened on Lot 2 in this episode.
Okay. So Lot 2, obviously still really important.
It's hot.
And we'll keep an eye on Lot 2. It's hot out there.
Yeah,
Hot
lots of
treasure.
good finds.
All right. So what do we have next that happened?
Well, before we move on, I want to talk a little bit about Jack Bagley.
Okay.
Yeah,
what about Jack?
I think he's one of my favorite characters, I think.
I really like him too.
Yeah. He's very amped up all the time. It seems like he's very excited.
He is.
He's more excited than a lot of at least he shows it. He doesn't hold it close to the vest like other people do.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So he's one of my favorite characters, probably because of that reason.
When they were looking at the pictures from when they were looking for the Halifax tunnel, he was the first one to
like,
say
that's the Halifax
that
tunnel.
was it, and everybody else was keeping quiet,
Yeah.
thinking it was the Halifax tunnel.
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's it! I'm in."
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he hasn't been so tainted by so many fails of things over the years. He's still super excited.
He's been around a long time.
He
He's
has.
seen a lot of he's seen his share of failure. Yeah, he's seen successes too. He's the one that found the human bones out of H8. He's the one that found
Pottery, is that right, out of there?
pottery.
And he was the one that spent many hours spraying the table, and he
Getting
was
extremely filthy.
Oh, he was filthy at the end of that last season. I felt really bad for him. He had to be cold.
Yeah, his bald head had just this caked with mud.
Oh man, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
That was good.
No, he's a lot of fun. I just wanted to chat about him real
Yeah.
quick because, I have this clip of him being super enthusiastic at the table at the beginning of the episode. Here it is.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Exactly.
So he's like super stoked about everything, and he's just a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to his reaction when they pull something big out.
Yep. That'll be good.
Yeah. All right. Another scene of the show has Craig, Dave, and Peter driving to the University of New Brunswick to supervise
That's right.
a test, and a laser ablation test to Drayton's Cross.
Yeah, Drayton's Cross is getting a lot of attention here.
As it should.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it's one of the biggest finds that they've ever made, probably the biggest. And super important, and it's super cool what they do to this cross to get it tested to see where the lead came from.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. So they're going to pull off isotopes, correct?
Yeah.
To see where this lead is from, because lead in different parts of the world have different compositions.
Exactly. But my favorite part about them doing this test was early on in the show, they did like a little CGI enactment kind of thing of this, what this test will look like. And I remember watching the show with you, and you were like, I'm sure that's exactly what it's going to look like. Well, guess what? It kind of did.
That was really funny, because I remember joking, like, he said, okay, sure, it's going to look like that. And he pulls out the tray. It looks exactly like that.
Yeah,
So,
you just
foot
don't-
in my mouth.
Yeah, you just don't see the little laser pulses, but that's kind of about it.
I guess I can accept that.
Yeah, but no, it was a really cool test that when they did the test against other standards of lead found in North America, the results were that it was unlike anything they had found.
So that must mean that the lead's not from North America?
Well, listen to the how the narrator tells it.
Not from North America?
I guess not.
Yeah, not from North America. And so that's an exciting revelation.
That is. I mean, so it's from somewhere else. It means it's been brought here from somewhere
Somewhere.
else. So we know people have been here.
Yeah, they're sure hoping it's Europe, but
Yes.
maybe Africa,
Yeah.
maybe Asia, Antarctica. Probably not.
Someone encouraged them to continue looking at Europe, right?
Yeah. No, the Dr. Chris McFarland.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentions that there are traces of silver found in the Drayton's Cross.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's because back in the day, a long time ago, before modern techniques were developed, when they would smelt the metals like lead or whatnot, they weren't able to purify them, and it would be
that's right.
Yeah, there would be trace amounts of other kinds of metals floating around in there, and this one,
Happened to be silver.
yeah, well, and that's pretty cool.
That is. I assume that's going to be able to help us further pinpoint where it's from.
Yeah, exactly. Here's what Craig and Dr. McFarland had to say.
We wanted to come from Europe,
Yeah.
so hopefully that's where it's pointing.
From my perspective, it's looking good.
It's looking good. Yeah, so Craig gets on a video conference call with the team back in the war room, and he relays the information that it's not a material made from North America, lead. And so he's super excited to tell them. They're all super excited to hear it.
They're thrilled.
And but Rick immediately goes to, well, this helps our theory of the cross coming from Europe and having a possible Knights Templar connection. And here's a little clip explaining that.
Carvings at Dom this way.
While visiting a 14th century prison in Dome, France last year, Rick Lagina, along with nephews Alex Lagina and Peter Fernetti, were shown a number of carvings known to have been made by members of the Knights Templar during their years of captivity.
They obviously wanted to keep that symbolism alive.
Incredibly, one of the carvings was eerily similar to the lead cross found at Smith's Cove.
Now with this evidence, if you will, that UNB is telling us it's not North American lead, it certainly doesn't eliminate the possibility that this is indeed a Templar connection.
Yep, Templar connection could be.
Yeah, it could be. I don't think that's ever fully been off the table, but it does seem...
Well, that would mean that the Templars got over to the New World before Christopher Columbus. So that's, I could happen,
History.
I guess. Yeah, well...
Making history.
Yeah, you never know. So, yeah, but that's a really fun thing to think about. And like I said it earlier, it's uncanny how similar the shape on the wall in Dome, France looks to this cross, Drayton's Cross.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think anybody can deny that at this point. But everybody's really relieved that the lead seems to be not from North America.
Exactly. And Gary Drayton is very excited about continuing to look in the same area that they found the lead cross last year, because he is sure that the cross has friends buried out in Smith's Cove.
I bet there are plenty of friends out there for this cross.
I completely agree.
Speaking of Smith's Cove, there is a lot going on out there right now. So we have Marty and Peter and the geophysicist Mike West and Andrew Gills, right?
Yes.
So they're using a very particular metal detector. It looks like a metal detector on steroids.
It's kind of hardcore for how deep it can go, like 20 feet deep. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's on wheels. It's like it's on a push cart or a stroller or a wagon.
Yeah.
So it goes a lot deeper, and they're going to be scanning that big area.
Yeah, over in Smith's Cove. And metal detector is equipped with a GPS unit to pinpoint where the hits are made down to the centimeter. So very accurate, and hopefully they can find some really good stuff with it.
So they can drop some pins in it and be able to go back and re-explore. But it's a big area that he's got to do.
It is big, and it's there's a funny exchange with Marty and Mike West. Here, listen to this.
Tried to do this pie piece here first. You see what I'm saying?
To do this whole area with this would take some time.
That's kind of what we want you to do.
It sounds like Marty wanted him to do more than he thought he was going to do when he showed up.
He feels, I think, a bit like, wow, I should have packed a lunch. I'm going to be out here a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, well, that's not all. Like later on, it shows Peter supervising Mike doing this this work, this metal detecting, and Mike it seemed like he thought he was almost done, and he said, okay, I'll do one more pass over here, and then Peter says to him, and then we'll start on the other side, and he's like, yeah, we'll start on the other side. Like,
he had a lot more work to do than he thought.
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty funny, but he's a trooper and he did it.
Yeah, and they did get a pretty big hit out there.
They did.
So they got the GPS coordinates, but they won't have that until they can take a better look at all the data that they were collecting at that time.
Yeah, they will come back to it when they get out there, I'm sure, with, the cofferdam built, have all the heavy equipment out there to dig things up.
Oh man, the cofferdam. I'm really looking forward to that.
I know, like, growing up, I never thought I would be excited about something like that.
Like a cofferdam?
Yeah, but it's
neither.
super exciting and intriguing, and what the heck are they going to find?
Well, they're going out a significant way further than what Dan Blankenship and their team did with their cofferdam.
Well, I think the cofferdam that Irving equipment has agreed to, they have an agreement to build this. It's like over 500 feet long. It's huge. It's like way over the length of a football field. This is legit.
Well, and they're talking about being able to get the heavy equipment in there. It looks like it dries out enough that the equipment's not sinking into the mud, which is really exciting because that really could be an issue. You're talking about an area that's been covered with water a lot.
Yeah, well, and it's heavy machinery. But yeah, they made a deal with Irving. They went to Irving to get their presentation, their proposal for building this cofferdam, and it was a pretty fun scene from the show. Like they had this
like a 3D.
Oh, it's alternate reality AR presentation through the Microsoft HoloLens, which is pretty cool. I've only seen it used for like video game purposes, but this is
what a great way to show it.
Well, it was cool, but I also think that it was weird that the guy sitting at the table couldn't, they didn't have headsets, so they couldn't see it. They had to watch it on the monitor, which was fine. But the guy was like, I can see this, but you can't. It's like, yeah, thanks.
Well, they could see the 3D model up there, but it is a new technology.
Maybe they just didn't show it and they got to use the headset. I would hope so. It was really cool to see. Rick seemed very impressed with the technology, so.
Yeah, it'll be really neat to see what they pull out of there. We saw them kind of putting the dam.
Well, yeah, those pylons were like 25 feet deep. Yeah, they mean business. This is not half doing it. This is all the way 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Probably like 150%.
I was really excited to see, the next week and them revealing stuff. So that this year, that is what I am most excited about so far, is that cofferdam, see what's going on out there. They mean business.
Yeah, they're not messing around this year. So beyond them making the deal with Irving Equipment, and they call Marty back at the War Room and chat with him about, confirming that they made the deal. Then the next scene switches to Rick and Gary metal detecting on Lot 21.
Oh, yes, Lot 21. That was exciting.
Yeah, that's right by the McGinnis Foundation, where
Yes.
Daniel McGinnis's house, the original Oak Island searcher with
Yes.
his two friends. It's where the foundation was. His house has been gone for over 100 years, they say, but the foundation is still there, and it's a culturally protected area.
Yeah, it's a
They're not allowed-
historical site.
Yeah, they're not allowed to go and do searching around it. They have to stay. I think they said
keep 100 feet.
Yeah, keep 100 feet from it. But that was pretty cool.
That was definitely unique, if you will. Found some awesome things out there.
Well, they found like a old metal hinge first, right?
That's right.
And they're like, well, we just need the treasure chest that goes along with it.
Right.
Yeah. But then your boy,
Yeah.
Gary Drayton,
Go Gary!
what did he do?
He found another Bobby Dazzler. The Broach brothers are at it again.
No, the Broach brothers are back.
Oh, they're back.
Yeah. So, no, this is an amazing top pocket find.
Yes.
It's this ornate brooch that has a jewel in the middle.
I thought it was a blue brooch at first, and was I the only one that thought that?
Probably.
Until it got cleaned up.
It got cleaned up and it was revealed to be red. And you haven't seen this yet, but I've actually seen the preview for the next episode, and they touch more upon the brooch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, or the jewel. So they do an analysis of the Bobby Dazzler from last year, the garnet,
Okay.
and they determine that it is a garnet and that it is old.
Both good things.
Yeah, they do an analysis on this new Bobby Dazzler, and they determine that it is not a ruby or a garnet. It is glass.
It's glass.
It's glass. It was made from a time very, very long ago, before searcher activity. It's like at least 400, 500 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty impressive. I know you haven't seen that yet, but
I love me a good Bobby Dazzler, though.
yeah, well, I hope every episode has some sort of Bobby Dazzler.
Oh. Hopefully.
Well, when we at the end of the show, it went into this season on Oak Island, and the biggest deal I think that they alluded to was discovery of the 90-foot stone.
That's
Possibly.
right. Possibly the 90-foot stone.
Well, it doesn't look a thing like they show in all their
Like the
previews.
animation?
Yeah, like in the opening credits where they show the 90-foot stone, it doesn't look a thing like that. But I've seen detailed eyewitness accounts of this 90-foot stone, and it's described as either 2 or 3 feet wide by about at least a foot to 16 inches deep.
Okay.
The stone that they showed on the preview was probably 2 foot wide and maybe about 15, 16 inches deep. That's kind of what it looked like. So maybe it looks real good. It's got some letters scratched on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently back in the day, a bookbinder shop had it tucked away for many years. And before that, some kind of leatherworking shop had it, and they beat leather on the stone.
Why?
I don't know. Okay. Bad move.
Yeah, but as a skeptic, I'm not 100% convinced about the 90-foot stone.
Well, maybe Doug Crowell, maybe Doug will convince us all that it's legit and the real deal.
I think he's already convinced you, but
I'm
I'm not as 100% gung-ho. But I always want proof, and I always want evidence. I have a hard time believing till I've got the facts.
Well, it looks very, very promising to me. I am super excited about that. That's like right up there with Smith's Cove for me.
Okay.
Like, I think it's cool. That's something, if they can verify that thing was pulled out of the ground, you know, at 90 feet or 80 feet, whatever it
was.
Well, the first account said 80 feet, and then, you know, since then it's 90 feet.
I want proof that it's been pulled out of the ground.
Yeah, they didn't have photos
I know.
taken at the time. Sorry, babe.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, but I'm super intrigued. I'm really excited for that. What else?
Don't get me wrong. I'm intrigued about the idea. I'm just not sold yet.
Well,
I'll get there. Maybe.
Maybe. I hope by the time that episode rolls around where they're doing that recovery, you can be as excited as I am. Because I'm super stoked. On this season of Oak Island, they talk about the seismic scanning results.
Yes.
And it looks like whoever's doing the presentation is saying that there was a cavity. And Marty asks, a chamber? And he says, yes. So it's just probably crazy editing. Who knows what he's actually saying yes to, but...
the chapel vault that supposedly got pushed down further into the mud.
Maybe. Hey.
It's possible, I guess. I'm a skeptic, so we'll see.
That's real hard for me to swallow, too. I don't know. If they pushed it down, don't you think they would have, I don't know, had a little more proof? Like, I don't know. Don't you think they would have pulled something up? I don't know.
Besides the teeth on the cans.
It's compelling. I hope it's the case, but who knows?
Maybe it's something even better.
Yeah, that'd be killer.
Let's go for that.
Heck yeah. Well, going off of this chapel vault theory, it's funny because in the preview, it also says that, the geologist, Terry Matheson, is in the clip, and he says, we've clipped the edge of a tunnel.
Okay, yes, I remember this.
And then after that, it says, Rick has a voiceover of this cool CG going through a tunnel.
Yes.
And he says, if there's anything here, the answer is in that tunnel. Dun,
That's
dun,
right.
Dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well,
the booby trap tunnels and all the other tunnels. And then we've got box drains to potentially uncover out in Smith's Cove. There's a lot they're serving up in this first episode for the rest of the season.
This is going to be a huge, huge season. It's so huge that they're not even done filming yet. Like, to this day, I just saw this morning, so there's this Facebook page called Oak Island from the Other Side of the Causeway. And the woman, her name is Karen Publicover. She lives just on the other side of the causeway that goes to Oak Island. And she takes pictures almost every single day. And it's a lot of fun to keep up with what's going on, even though it's
in real time.
Yeah, and it's a little bit behind the scenes. But, you know, she's not on the island. She's just taking pictures mostly from across the way. But she can see cranes. You know, she can see the drones flying up in the sky. You know, so it's fun to get a little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, and kind of be able to speculate a little bit. We all want to do that.
Oh, yeah. So if you haven't already, I would recommend following that Facebook page. It's a lot of fun to check out. So they also talk about concrete and an ancient structure that they may have found in Smith's Cove.
Yes.
That's one of the discoveries. And then they have this video conference of this guy saying that something is Roman in origin. And, you know, obviously we have the Roman numerals carved into the U-shaped structure. So that's pretty interesting.
Really excited and be curious to know what that means.
Well, that'd be something because the Romans was way before Columbus too.
Yes.
So that would be really interesting. It looks like I think it was Alex Lagina, I guess it'd be Rick's nephew and Marty's son, does some scuba diving in the search of some kind of
an anchor?
An anchor, yeah.
Where did this anchor come from?
You know, I'm not sure.
It seems really random to me. I mean, I'm excited about the idea, unless they're looking for a sunken ship of sorts, but...
Well, you know, that's what they're looking for in the swamp, right?
Exactly. Maybe I don't know, an anchor, that's kind of exciting, but it seems also random.
Yeah, I don't know, who knows? Every ship had an anchor. There's, you know, thousands.
At least, yeah.
tens of thousands of anchors probably down the bottom of the ocean. So
But they felt it important enough to share.
yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But then final Bobby Dazzler, it ends with Gary Drayton finding something that they call gold colored while metal detecting. And then they had the experts analyze it, and they said it was pure gold.
First gold on the island.
Yeah, that's what Marty ends the preview saying, and super exciting.
Yay! I can't wait to see what's going on.
Well, is gold a Bobby Dazzler? I don't know that gold's Bobby Dazzler.
I mean, gold's gold.
I bet you he has some other fun word for it.
Ooh, that's a good
A
point.
new one. Yeah, because Bobby Dazzler is like jewels.
Yeah, they have to. I feel like Bobby Dazzlers must have jewels to be considered Bobby Dazzlers.
You know, there's probably some kind of like code book with like what these terms mean that
Code-
we just don't know about.
Code book, like AKA just English terms that people normally use, not from here. I don't know. I don't think it's a code.
Okay. No, I'm just saying maybe there's some kind of something we don't know.
Possibly, but I would love Gary to teach it to me.
Oh yeah. So before we sign off, I just wanted to get your impressions of the whole season preview show featuring Maddie Blake.
Yeah. Oh, Maddie Blake.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yes, he's always got something to share or try to get them to share more.
Is he or is Jack Bagley more enthusiastic?
Oh, that's hard to say. I think Maddie jumps much quicker because he's not out on the island as often working on stuff. He's just kind of there once in a while.
Yep.
So anytime something new comes up, he's gonna be like, "Whoa, I discovered something!"
Well, it was pretty funny in that preview. He went to was it Lot 2?
Possibly. But he went to a lot went metal detecting.
No, Lot 21,
Okay.
because it was the same one they found the Bobby Dazzler that Gary alluded to. But yeah, so they had him do a little metal detecting, and he got lucky. He got a hit.
Yay! A hit.
But, then they had him dig it up, and he was super stoked. And as he dug it up, it looked like...
It looked big.
And round. And...
Maybe a barrel of a gun?
And that's what Gary
Could it
suggested.
be?
And he did the biggest double take at Gary right then. He's like, what?
His eyes jumped out of his head.
Oh my gosh, it was so hilarious.
Between him and Jack.
Well, then Jack kind of was poking a little fun at Maddie Blake. I don't know if anybody
he
else
had
thought
to
that.
have known it wasn't.
Well, he's like, what is it, Maddie? And he's like looking up at Gary smiling. It's like 5, frames or something. Super small clip, but you could see him looking up at Jack going ha ha, or not Jack, at Gary going ha ha.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was pretty funny. But
That was.
yeah, he's it is fun to watch Maddie. He's super excited. He's not your typical TV host.
No.
He looks a little out of his element at times, but he's always super excited and passionate.
Enthusiastic and passionate like the rest of us here at home, following along on this journey.
Except he gets to go out there.
That's true. He
That's
gets to
pretty
go out
cool.
there. I'm a little jealous, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
I think that's the end of the show.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for tuning in and listening to us. So we will have another episode after the next one airs. So we look forward to sharing with you. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, if you want to reach out to us, you can email us, and we'll be happy to answer emails on the podcast. It is oakislandpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also find us on different social media platforms. We're going to be on...
We're on Twitter, and that's at Oak Island Pod.
And then we'll be on Facebook and Instagram. And both of those are at Oak Island Podcast.
That's right. So we just want to say thank you very much for listening. And until next time, could it be?